All right, we're recording. Can't believe we're back on a front of a camera again.
I tell you, last week my palate is fucked today. I thought I noticed it yesterday, but when I had my first cigar this morning, I can't taste anything. I've had 4 cigars today, 0 taste. I cannot taste anything out of any of them. And my first was a tobacco. I couldn't taste it.
Do you have a tongue scraper?
You know, I've got the new tongue attachment for my new Philips Sonicare. So I was going to try that.
So you power wash your tongue.
Yeah, and then try just like cutting back on cigars for a couple of days. You know, maybe see if that'll work.
Yeah.
But yeah, even like my tongue, it feels weird. Like it's like it's not even my own tongue.
Yeah.
You have someone else's tongue in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ew, it's weird.
Yeah. But I just need to cut back. Last week was rough. I averaged 5 a day last week.
Oh, that's so rough. It feels so bad for you. Choices. All about choices.
It's a tough day, Kevin. It's a tough day being you.
Yeah. That one day I ended up doing 6, the Sinistro day.
Oh. Yeah, I'm smoking a dish on 35 that I sweeten the tip.
Oh.
Oh, is that the one? That's all you did on that one, is sweeten the tip?
Yeah, that's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm actually, it's very subtle, very faint, and I like it actually.
Is that the first one that you've done with just sweeten the tip?
I did a Gringo too, and I thought the Gringo was pretty good.
How long did it last? Because like some cigars with sweetened tips, like after the first 20 minutes, you can't taste it anymore. But then some with like an hour later, you can still get that taste.
When I smoked the Gringo, I was surprised how long it lasted.
Oh, okay.
I was. I'll let you know with this one. But these are the only 2. The other ones that I did mint, and that lasted a long time. I was actually surprised. I was like, freaking nubbing it, and I was like,
mint's a little potent. It'll creep in everywhere.
Mm-hmm. And it really brought a unique taste to the Gringo. It was really cool.
Not overpowering. Yeah.
No, not at all. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the sweetener and maybe just add a little bit of mint to it and do something like that, and kind of get some feedback on what these folks. I'm just doing it for one cigar shop in this area. You get some feedback and see what they think. It's actually, this is pretty good. And then my cognac infusion process has been it's like
trial and error.
Kevin and I were laughing. Like, that's why there's clinical trials.
Yep.
Yeah. Had a lot of patients dying on the first round.
That's the key to anything. It's just you've just got to do it and then see what happens and what's too much, what's not enough, and then that Goldilocks is what probably takes the longest time.
Yeah, I think I might have gotten close to a Goldilocks because I have a Gringo in there right now that is feeling pretty good. And I think another day or 2 it'll be dried. It'll be perfect. Yeah. And then I'm going to try it. And I did the Lancero I was telling you about. And I kind of overdid that one accidentally. I mean, it was a wet spot. It looked like someone pissed their pants on the side of the freaking cigar. So I just left that out and dry boxed that for like a week or, about a week. And I smoked it today and I was like, not bad. I mean, it actually made the cigar enjoyable. And it was a cigar I was not liking before.
You could probably, like I said, infuse them all, dry box them and then put them back in humidity. Because I imagine
that's the idea.
I imagine whatever's in, the alcohol, because the alcohol will eventually go away. But that substance, that gives everything its flavor should stay behind.
Yeah, that's what I'm going to be testing out with the Gringo, because I want to take that once it's dry. I want to rehydrate it, and then I want to check and see what happens next. Yeah. Because what happens next may be a big up in the air. No one really knows. I mean, rehydrating it may freaking make all that strong alcohol flavor back again. I mean,
that's what I want. Like dehydrated food. If you hydrate, does it come back? And then so yeah. And then I'm doing my little experiment just with Bovida, but that's just I'm just gonna make a video and throw it out there. I don't want to do anything with it, but
I think I'm gonna try and do. The idea is to try and find a potential shortcut to truncate that 6-week infusion time.
Yeah.
This is great. Jen and I are just gonna go into
I'll
another
go take a
room,
nap.
and we'll
Okay.
FaceTime each other and have conversations.
All right,
that
Kevin,
you
start
and-
off the
you
show.
and Kevin could have by yourselves.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kevin.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Jess.
I'm Broadleaf Bully Kerr,
And I'm Broadleaf Bully Jen.
and we are
The
Broadleaf Bullies.
We talk. You listen. We're the Broadleaf Bullies. And here's your hosts, Kev, Kerr, Jessie, and Jen.
I will admit that anybody listening to this, they weren't privy to your and I conversations. They have no idea what we're talking about. Like that.
Yeah, that's the point.
Yeah.
That's the point. You and Kerr shouldn't have been talking about it
Yeah.
on this platform.
Oh, so
Just saying.
we're changing our format to actually not
Well,
doing
for
that
the most
anymore
part,
because
we talk about things people can follow.
Yeah.
okay.
That was like a
People
conversation.
can follow our
We'll-
conversation.
We'll take care of that in editing, Jess.
No,
Yeah.
that's fine. Whatever.
So, how are you guys doing this evening?
Happy retirement.
Happy
Jessica.
retirement. For all
Yeah.
those who are not aware, Jessica retired the other day.
Listen,
She's now
it's not,
running
it's not
a dog,
technically it's not technically
daycare.
retired if you don't have a plan. Not that you
Oh,
don't
she
have
got
a plan. Like
She doesn't have a
retired
plan?
is when you work from a place for like 30 years, you get a 401k, and
I do have that.
Yeah,
I'm sorry
I'm
that
saying
you
you just quit your job. You didn't retire.
She doesn't
technically.
for
Well,
it.
I technically did retire from
Kevin.
Goodwill. Been
She
with them for a
retired.
very long time,
Kevin,
and
when
I do have a 401k, so you can
it
suck
is-
it.
it
Stop
is-
being such an asshole. Like I need you to go. Like you need to go somewhere other than here.
well,
You are
Kevin,
not
Kevin,
a nice
Kevin,
person.
apparently we could have our conversation earlier. It is technically retiring because I worked at SmithKline Beecham. I worked at SmithKline Beecham for 5 years. I left after 5 years, kind of went on my merry way, did my thing, and then I got a letter from them 5 years later saying, "Hey, your retirement," because SmithKline Beecham was like one of the big companies that actually had a retirement. Your retirement is coming up. The money, and with SmithKline being bought by Glaxo, we're doing this, the other thing, and it was at that time the pharmaceutical market companies were really unstable. So they were like, you can either take your retirement now in one lump sum, or we'll just kind of keep it here for you. Wait till you turn 65.
Yeah.
And I said, no, I'll take it now.
Yeah.
So it was a retirement. So Jess,
I do have but I also have all of that. I also been paying into a plan for a long
I'm agreeing
time
with
through
you.
Goodwill.
I'm agreeing with you. I'm supporting you.
And I appreciate that. But Kevin, who's supposed to be supportive,
I am
clearly
supported.
is such a jackass and says just whatever he truly wants
been
to
24
say on
hours.
this show rather than say it, I don't know, privately. Like keep things private for once. I don't know. I mean,
It's
I
just
guess
the
it's
four
a
of
hard
us.
concept.
What? You're
I know, it's
retired.
hard.
You made the
It's
announcement.
cool.
It's
I
public.
said I said I left my job of 10 years.
Yeah, you retired.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
According to Kevin, that's not the case.
What's
And
the
I
matter
don't
of
have
opinion?
and I don't have a plan, so I'm clueless. I'm going in this all
She's planning
all-
on punching you in the face, Kevin. That's what she's planning
just
on.
whatever. Yep, that's me. No plan.
Wow. Looks like episode 8's going to end real early tonight.
Well, this is Kevin's doing. Blame him.
I don't blame Kevin for anything.
I know. That's the problem.
Yeah. Kevin is never held accountable.
Oh my God, we
Oh
so
my
gotta,
God.
Kevin, you gotta
I-
cash in some favors and get us on the
I
Family
was
Feud.
sticking up for
before-
you,
Oh.
Jess. How
we,
is it-
We have got to be on the Family Feud.
we've got to go on the Family Feud with Steve Harvey. Yeah.
Lars may even know Steve Harvey. He's in with like all the.
Yeah, and
famous
unfortunately,
people.
like I said, I've tried reaching out every way I can to get him on the show just to talk about cigars.
I don't want him on the show. I want us on.
Yeah,
Family
I want,
Feud.
yeah. I figure we'll get him on our show first. find out how funny we are, and then like, he'll
Oh
invite us.
no, it would be the classic bully show. I'll even be like fourth position. I'm fine with not even being. Kerr could be the number one spot. I think he would be good as the leader.
Are you kidding me? You have Kevin in this,
Well,
in this
but I
group,
don't trust
and you're
his.
expecting me
I
to
don't
be
trust
in the
his
front?
answers.
I don't
It doesn't
trust him
matter.
From the
either.
start.
Kevin
So
needs to be
I
driving.
can be
The
Anchor
tail.
man?
the cleanup person.
Anchor man, you're the last person.
No, I don't want to be fifth. I want to be fourth.
I
The
should
fifth
be.
one always gets screwed out of answers.
That's fine. I should be the fifth person. I probably shouldn't speak.
Yeah. No, I want to be first. Yeah.
I was gonna say, listen, I'm well aware of the company
my
that
God,
I
it'd be
keep,
great.
and if we ever were on the Family Feud, it'd be like, who's first? I'm gonna be like, this guy is, dude. Because honestly, if I'm first, all you're gonna have to do is pan back a little bit and get the second guy because
Yeah.
he's gonna talk the whole time.
Yeah.
So I think
but
Lars
Kevin
should be
doesn't
our
know-
fifth, but others would be a good
Yeah.
fifth as well.
Yeah. No.
I want to be on that show. I think it'd be great.
Our fifth.
Yeah. Now, does he still do the show?
Yeah.
Okay. I
Yeah.
wasn't sure if he was still on or.
Yeah.
The
it's
fifth would be
on.
an up. Who would be? I think Bones.
That would be great too.
Bones would be a great fifth.
Yeah.
Wow, it's a good
Yeah.
thing. Good thing you guys are hearing this and not
I said
seeing.
yes. I said yes.
Who
I don't know
else?
we had to elaborate on.
But Bones would be. Yeah, he would.
He's knowledgeable.
We'd be on YouTube a lot.
Yeah.
We'd be on YouTube a lot. I think
Oh.
Lars.
Figuring the broad spectrum of questions that they ask
You need
and the
Lars.
answers, you kind of need
You need Lars. That would be
an
funny.
eclectic person
Yeah.
to round out our group.
100 men surveyed. Your wife makes dinner, but you don't like this as a side. Anus.
Yeah. Show me anus.
Show me anus.
Yeah.
Lars, what
Oh
are you
my
thinking? Well, I don't know. I'm thinking at dinner with a plate being set, an
Yeah.
anus would be a great. Okay.
Oh
It would be explained too.
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
So Jeff,
Yes.
how's the dog sitting going? The
Before
new
he
cat-
answers,
Oh,
what
I'm
is she
sorry.
smoking?
I'm
She's
sorry.
not
Yes, what are you
smoking.
smoking? I apologize.
A Dr. Nomad. Yep.
Kevin,
I am smoking a Corona 25th anniversary Maduro.
ooh, nice.
Okay.
I
Now
don't
on
know.
to
I
your
can't taste
question.
it.
Now, I was asking you. Now that you're retired, it looks like you're starting a kennel service.
Oh my
How's the
Well, I'm
kennel
not
service?
retired. Obviously, I still have to work and do stuff. But the reason why I left Goodwill is for a personal reason.
My
that I don't
dad
feel the need to
retired.
share with everybody on the
My
planet.
dad retired and
My
still works.
dad retired and my dad retired twice. He retired and then worked at delivering at a dental lab and retired again. I think my dad worked there for. He's what, 83?
Yeah, he's still
60?
went back to
He
delivering.
retired early. He probably worked there for almost 20 years.
It's his second job.
Yeah.
Fucking, it's yeah.
Crazy.
My dad still works.
And they're like, your
Yeah.
dad doesn't look like he's 81. Or 87.
No,
what's
he
it?
does
I'm like,
not.
well, my dad works all the time. I mean, he freaking had to get shoulder surgery because he was cleaning off the car of his coworker who can't get around well, who's 70. And I'm like, Dad, you're 79. Like, but he's just
That's what we had yesterday. We had our 70-year-old neighbor pressure washing the driveway of our 80-year-old neighbor.
Mhm.
yeah.
Like, so let's go. Let's go well.
Sure.
Yeah, but Harry's in good shape though.
Yeah.
How's the kennel doing?
So my parents went to New
I may have to step
Jersey
away for a few
to
minutes.
go to a wedding, and so they were driving, and then on their way back they're going to stop and see Graham. But they're going to be gone for like 10 days, so they were going to
Wow.
leave the dog with my brother, and then decided not to because his girlfriend or fiance, whatever you want to call her, she's going to be out of town as well. So they asked if I would do it. So I'm like, sure, that's fine.
She went with them, right?
Well, she didn't go with them. She hasn't left yet.
Oh,
she's going to fly to spend time with a girlfriend in New Jersey, and then she's going to the wedding
Oh, okay.
as well. But anyway, so they text me and say, "Oh, we're on our way, but the dog has an upset belly." And I was like, "What are you talking about, Willis? Like, what do you mean? What do
This
you
is like
mean
the
it-
diarrhea dog story from long
Yeah. Just like that.
Well-
Every dog that comes into my life shits all over me and my stuff.
Well, that's what I was thinking was, is it gonna poop everywhere? Is like what's happening, right? So I kept making sure it went out before we went to bed, and then it kept waking me up to go outside. So I get up, take it outside. So I got like no sleep. But when I got up in the morning, it had thrown up twice in the bedroom, once in the living room, and then twice in Wyatt's room. And Wyatt was not happy. He was like, "This dog that." So I'm scrubbing like throw up at like 7 o'clock in the morning. The poor dog's laying on the couch, like it slept all day. The poor thing looks like miserable. But my parents sold their house, moved into their trailer temporarily, like an hour and a half away, and was constantly driving back and forth to my brother's, to their trailer with the dog. Then their other dog just passed away, so that probably depressed this dog. Yeah. Then they moved into their new place that they just bought, and then now they left. Wow. Literally just left. Like they had just moved in 2 days ago. So this poor dog has been ping-ponged everywheres. And so
poor thing.
Yeah, I was just like, great. So I sent a message to my siblings, like, you are welcome. Like, you are welcome that I am taking care of this dog that has this upset tummy. But my mom said something so disturbing when I told her it had, it had gotten sick. She was like, well, was it Big D? And I'm like, you don't get to say that. Like, do you even know what you're saying when you say that? But it doesn't matter. It's like, well, Big D means something else to me than that. And I'm thinking, nope, we're not having this conversation.
Well, and then to let people also know, it's a 90-pound pit bull.
Well, he's mixed. I think he's got some boxer in him, whatever. But he's a big, and he's just like,
so it's not little throw up.
No, it was a lot. Like his name is.
That's
Dozer.
like Cooper when he throws up, the bubbles, it soaks right into the carpet, the smell, oh my God.
Yeah,
he was just at the vet earlier this week. He's on arthritic meds. Poor thing, there were 3 bunnies in our backyard yesterday, and I'm like, okay, Coop, go get them. And he goes out, and his hind legs are just hopping because he has such bad atrophy in both legs that he can't really move them well. But he still can see fine, and surprisingly, he's only 87 pounds. He seems a lot bigger.
Trapped the bunnies and brought them closer.
There were 3. Yeah. They went like that. I'm like, sorry, buddy.
Just tie him up so he can get a little close to him.
Feel better.
Yeah, make him feel young again.
Yeah. So now I have this dog for 10 days, and then I feel like it's finally going to start to feel better and be okay, and then they're going to take the dog back, and the dog's going to have all kinds.
And they haven't had the dog.
All the dogs get along.
Correct? Well, they had the dog since the beginning of COVID.
Yeah, so they rescued the dog. So now who knows what it's thinking?
Yeah, I don't. Well, right, and that's the other thing. When they got the dog too, the dog had a little bit of behavioral issues. He wasn't really aggressive, but now he used to like growl and bark at Kevin. Now he's fine.
Well, now especially he's been over here.
But he did it to all people, like all men. Like he was really weird, even towards my dad and my brother in the beginning. Now he's really good. They've been socializing him a lot more too. But the dog is so, you could tell it's depressed, and I'm like, I just feel so bad for it. But I was telling my mom, this isn't okay. Why are you giving me this poor dog? Why its tummy's upset?
Do you give it Pepto or anything?
No, I don't. They didn't give me anything to give it.
Can you give a dog Pepto?
You can. You can actually give dogs Pepto and Imodium.
Well,
look it up. It's per weight, but like if you have a children's chewable, that's the best way because the liquid is very messy because it just gets.
We put it on Cooper that one time, and he goes like this, shakes it. It's like
just pink
now
everywhere.
You got pink shit everywhere.
But dogs can take Pepto.
Yep.
Well, he hasn't thrown up at all today, like at all. He didn't eat anything this morning. He drank some water. He's obviously been out to use the bathroom. But I did feed when I was feeding the other dogs. I got him to come eat. He ate like half his dinner, and then laid back down. But then right before now, like before we got on the show, Wyatt was outside playing, and he has like this little, you throw the ball into, it's like a little grabber and it whips the ball. Mm-hmm. He was running after it and getting it and playing. So that was good to see him actually running. And I haven't inspected or looked because he hasn't pooped in the house. He just threw up all over the house. If it was dog poop, I would have been throwing up
I thought like when
Cooper.
Cooper's not feeling well, we're watching. We make sure we watch his poop, and plus he's a weird dog. He shits so walks when he shits. So it's not like a pile of crap. It's usually a dotted line.
not like the video I sent you, the little person how she wipes her ass.
That was disturbing.
Prop style.
That was prop style.
It was the other one, but
Safari.
Did you watch that video I sent in the Bullies chat?
Nope.
And
that was
just
odd.
A little person. She's like, I always get the question, and I want to go back and look at the rest of her channel, like because she has like T-Rex arms. That's what she called them. It's not like I didn't say that.
Yeah, she said it herself.
So
long body, and little arms.
That's what she said.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not uncommon.
No, it is.
Like, especially people who are shorter too. Like, a lot of people have to adapt to the environment they're in. They have grabbers, all kinds of stuff.
That's what she had.
I had an employee that was in a wheelchair, and she used to put clothes away. She had a grabber. She'd grab them off the rack and shove them all over the place. She was fast.
We used to work with a big guy, Nick. I called him Moby Nick. He didn't like that, but it was an apropos name.
Oh my god. I don't know how.
I just didn't. What I didn't understand with her wood stick was how, like, I thought she would use it more as an extension of her arm to help wipe instead of just bunching it up in a ball and sitting on it and moving her butt. I thought it'd be more of an extension of her arm.
I'm sure they
see. It was weird. We were making fun of her.
That's where it was.
It was disturbing. Where she was like, and then I do.
Well, but that was like.
But one of the guys when we worked with Moby Nick asked him, was like, "Hey, how do you wipe?" And I said, "I go, he's probably got."
Think about what you just.
I said he's probably got a wiping stick, And then now this lady has a wiping stick, and I'm like, that's probably how Nick did it.
It started off with the little person and her wiping stick, and then Jess really interjected and layered in some seriousness to it. And I thought we were going down a little bit more of a politically correct, serious path, and then Kevin's like, Moby Nick, next exit.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But there's people who use like a scraper on their butt and stuff, and all kinds of weird shit
like a nice scraper.
Yeah, scoop out.
Well, I've seen that with like impacted poop.
Well, no, I mean there are people who literally use it like religiously. Like that's like the way in the pooping stool. Like there's a correct way.
The squatty potty.
Squatty potty with the unicorn.
Well, I don't know if it has a unicorn or not.
I tried doing it on the footstool
because there is a certain angle at which you're supposed to sit on the toilet. Yeah, that is medically true.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying.
I had the footstool in there, and I had my foot propped up, and I was trying to take a shit, and it was just like
I don't know. I can't bend my knee, so I got one leg this. I got to sit on the toilet sideways.
Yes, you need to help Kevin poop.
I got to sit on the toilet sideways.
First off, your whole life
side saddle pooping.
That's hard. Don't act like this is a new concept. Like this is the first time
because the toilet seat
it's the first time in my life I've never had a knee injury.
That's so uncomfortable
without bending your knee.
Well, no, because you can. You just got to sit on sideways. One leg has to be out. It's just,
and then plus I think I'm just over.
And then plus the garbage I've been eating. I need more fiber. It's
but the problem.
Can you put your foot sit side saddle and put your foot on the tub? Is the tub there where you can prop your leg up, but you're still sitting on the toilet? I'm picturing like the toilet next to the.
Yeah, I've paid attention to them talking about how small their bathroom is.
Yeah, well, that would be small.
And when you sit side saddle on a toilet, the problem is you start loosening up those nuts in the back.
Yeah,
and then what happens
I already had to tighten them once.
What happens is when you go side saddle and it slides a little bit, and then the freaking nubs that hold the toilet seat up click off, and then it like jolts your back. If your nuts are positioned in the wrong spot, kablao, you got your nuts.
Now, is this why you needed to get a new toilet seat recently?
It was old. It was just time.
And this one
is that what you're going with?
This one has like two quick connects. You just press them, you can pull the whole seat off to clean it.
You need to get one with handles on it.
The first step is I got to take my left shoe off. So that's the first step.
A potty chair
because I got to bring my foot out of my pants. Yeah, but so I got to take my left leg completely out.
Why is he taking his pants off to take a shit?
What do you shit with your pants on?
You pull them down.
Not when you have a knee brace on.
If you can't,
he wears shorts.
You can't bend the leg because then both your legs are out. You need one. You need to be like this.
So I'm still not understanding
Listen,
why.
Jen,
He's,
Because
I'm,
here's
I'm
the
with
reason
you.
why.
I'm totally
because he
with
wears
you.
mechanic
explain.
shorts.
I'm gonna
They're
explain.
big.
I'm gonna explain why. If
No, we
he's-
don't want to know.
If he's
Kerr.
no, you have to know.
No,
Then he won't criticize.
Listen, because
Oh,
I'm
we
I
won't
don't
criticize.
care.
Maybe our
If you-
watchers would like to know.
If you
No one's
the
watching this
watchers, the
show.
listeners want to know. So if you have a bummed up knee, if you stand up straight and drop your drawers and sit down, you have one leg straight out. So now you have the other leg's going to go straight out because it's wrapped around the same pants or shorts.
Yeah.
So you have to free the one leg in order to do that.
I don't.
If not, if
Do I have to show you?
Yes.
if both your
Stand
legs are if both your
Look,
legs are
if you
straight
go
out,
down like this, right, and if your one leg is straight up like this, right, and if you got to go like this, then you're like that. Then both your
There's
pants.
still plenty of room. You're
Okay, hold on.
exaggerating.
Hold
because then
Hold
your legs are out, and then your butt cleats
now, now you got to get
Yeah.
back up again, right?
Oh,
and your
God.
one leg straight. So now you got to get up. You're like,
And then that
No.
falls on you.
now you got to get up. You see what Kevin goes through?
I know. Every time my
And then-
ring light in the
then when you
bathroom
get up,
falls on me.
Now what are you gonna do? You got a bum leg, and then you got pants around your ankle. You
Oh
got to
my
bend over, and then you got to, and then you got to get your freaking butt scraper,
Listen,
and then you got to pick them up.
you got to get your
No.
butt, your poop
it's
stick.
a hassle. People don't know what I go through.
Listen, I do not feel bad at this point. He could be
Did I explain that properly, Kev?
12
You
more,
did.
12,
Why
like,
don't
whatever.
you
We
just
go
get one of
tomorrow
those,
for a doctor's appointment.
I cannot
Oh,
wait
like-
for that trailer.
Like the old. Well, we haven't seen a trailer in a couple weeks. so
Oh,
that
you'll
will
see one
happen.
after this.
Why don't you get one of those old people?
The potty chairs.
The potty chairs. What are
Yeah,
they called?
I
The
could have
commodes.
picked a million
Like
of
the
them up
portable-
at work.
I'm
They're
sure
called
they're-
portable commodes.
I'm sure you had a ton of them at
They
Goodwill.
adjust. They go really
Yeah.
high. He doesn't even have to. He could basically kind of just.
And then you just
Nobody
dump
wants-
the basin.
Yeah, but okay. So you poop. Now you get that extra 2 feet of poop. Yeah, I said it hits the toilet, splashing the poop
No, you're
water
not
up
in
on
the
you.
toilet.
And if you're not
Oh.
sitting properly
It's
when
a-
you poop,
first
then
off,
it gets
does
on you
anyone
because you're
know
not
what
at the
an
right
actual
angle.
Potty chair is. It's got
You're
a bucket.
shitting at like a
Kevin.
45-degree
You
angle,
shit-
and it's like
you
gets
shit
on hit
in
your
a toilet
thighs.
that you have to then move the bucket and then you dump it. You're not
Ah.
in the bathroom.
Do you want it to be dumping that bucket and cleaning
I wouldn't
it?
have to dump it. Your hands aren't
Yeah.
fucking broken.
Oh, but then he's
fuck
got a
outta
limp,
here.
and when you got that
Yeah.
limp, it'll slush the
Oh,
stuff around.
Listen, they come with lids. They come with
I'm
lids.
telling you though, what I explained with the shorts,
Or
because
you pour the stuff in that makes the pee into
I've
gel.
had knee injuries before, and it's a pain. It's literally such a trying to take a dump is horrible when you have a bum leg and you got to drop your shorts or your pants or whatever. It's just it's a big hassle.
I have a question. Didn't you spend time in a hospital? And you're going to tell me every time they helped you to the bathroom?
I've never been in the hospital.
Oh, I thought you did when you were in your motorcycle accident. You didn't stay in the hospital?
No.
They let you go home?
Yeah, let me went home.
Okay, well,
I spent time in a hospital.
I've never.
and you
I've
never had to use one of those chairs?
I've never.
I
pooped in
did,
a-
but I didn't have the nurses yelling at me and criticizing me the whole time.
Well, I'm not a nurse.
Neither am I.
It really would be easier just to poop in the bathtub.
It
You
would
know,
be.
just
Ew,
get- yeah.
let's even,
Yeah.
please.
Shit in the shower, stand straight
Well,
up, shit in the
anyway,
shower,
yeah.
push it down.
I-
thing.
I
You
will
should
Yeah.
just
tell
pee
you
in the
those-
bathtub or shower.
It's all pee pipes.
Yeah.
Pee pipes.
But then at least I could take like the thing in, and then I could just use it like a bidet, and
No.
yeah.
I had a
No.
guy who did that in college. We used to have those shower
Ugh.
rooms where it was like,
That's gross.
like in our dorm, and it was like 8 showers all around. And he walked in one day, he had been drinking and trying to do gross shit, and squatted down and took a dump right in the freaking middle of the shower, and then was squishing it down the freaking drain with his feet.
Ew.
And
Oh my God.
I had to leave. It was so gross. People were throwing up. It was the foulest thing in the world, especially when it's all that steamy freaking
my
heat.
He's the reason why everyone has to wear shower shoes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Most definitely. And it was just like, what the hell is
Oh.
wrong with you?
So gross.
Yeah,
Oh.
and I haven't washed my toes in 3 months. Like I said, I just like try and get as much soap and water down there as I
I mean,
can.
your
I
feet
can't.
are still getting washed. You
Yeah.
can't
Why
act
don't you
like-
go for a pedicure?
Well, Jess just trimmed my toenails. I'm good.
Well, you can still
No,
get 'em
they wash your
clean.
feet, they
wash,
soak
they'll
'em, they
scrub
scrub
'em,
'em.
they'll
Oh,
put
you
Yeah.
can't-
soap on 'em.
He can't bend his knees, remember? He can't bend his knee.
Yeah, but you hear so many.
I'm
horror
sure they would
stories.
accommodate.
Oh,
get-
now
people
we can
getting inf-
accommodate for that.
People getting infections.
No, I'm
by
saying I
having-
said the
yeah.
people at the pedicure place would
I
accommodate for
doubt
that.
it.
Yeah.
I don't.
Lars goes for him. There was a video on Facebook.
Yeah, Ronnie goes for his too from Secreto Cigar Bar. He gets his done.
I don't know, but we just finally got approved for 12 more sessions of physical therapy.
Oh,
cannot
good.
wait.
So
I cannot wait.
Hopefully these are the last 12 that I have to go to, and then they can start working on getting some range of motion back. So
how is your knee feeling? Like from it's April, so since February.
I mean, it's sore all day long.
Since February, it's been since December 28th.
Well, I know but you really didn't start doing anything until.
Oh yeah. No,
February
you're right. We didn't start doing physical therapy until February. So it's sore all the time. It doesn't. It's it's not pain. Like there's no throbbing pain. It's just like a sore muscle, 24/7.
Can you have any movement at all?
Zero.
Wow.
That's what the doctor said last month, and he goes, "Oh my God!" He goes, "I cannot believe you can't move it." And he goes, "What kind of numbers were they giving you at physical therapy on your range of motion?" I go, "What do you mean numbers?" He's like, "Are they like when you move it?" I go, "No, we haven't moved it at all." That's when he's like, "What?"
That's crazy.
So, zero. So I still have zero range of motion. It does not bend, and I try. Like when I take the brace off. Like especially in the shower after 10 minutes with the hot water, I do try and see, and it's like it doesn't. Not at all.
Is it because it's painful?
No, not. It's really it's not painful to try and movement. Because I've tried to like put my foot up against the tub and like kind of step down to like force the joint to move, and it's almost like it's fused together. Like it doesn't move.
Well, it depends on your ligaments. I mean, they could, they're supposed to be flexy and bendy. If they've been stationary, I mean, they shorten.
Yeah.
And now you got to go back to having them bending it and stretching them back out again. They shorten. It's got to be locked in a position.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure we'll find out more.
That's why they were doing
tomorrow, and
that's the reason why they were doing all the heat and also the ultrasound. To heat it up and break up any of the freaking.
Well, it's funny because then they didn't have him do any of the proper exercises because the doctor screwed up on the orders. Right. So they did all of that, and then he just basically went on a treadmill and walked, but he didn't really even bend. He was kind of like a peg leg.
Yeah, they basically prepped you and then did absolutely none of the work.
Yeah, the last day of therapy after the doctor, I guess, called up there, they started doing what needed to be done the whole time he was going, and it was like, oh. So he got one session. That's great. One session of actual therapy that he was supposed to have. And that's not the therapist's fault. That's the doctor's fault.
No, I'm saying
now we get to go back to the stupid doctor tomorrow, the same doctor, and have him be like, oh, why can't you bend your knee? Like, what's going on here?
Yeah. Because it's been, and that's what's
I almost don't want to go in because I think at this point I'm just going to fucking punch him in the face.
Yeah, if they're not giving the proper orders. They're not giving the proper orders. They're going to do the therapy that the doctors are ordering them to give because the doctor knows best. So if they're fucking up the orders, then they're just going to give you the same.
Let's just put it this way: from the beginning, it's been bad communication on all ends, and to everyone's defense too. Though, like Kevin said, like it's through another third party too for some of it. So it's not necessarily the doctor or the therapist, but whoever they're using for
or the insurance company. You actually have a company that basically provides the workman's compensation insurance, and they're the ones who drive everything.
Terrible.
Yeah, because the doctor's got to call this company. This company gets it approved through the workers' comp. Then that company calls the physical therapist, and then but the physical therapist gets paid by workman's comp, and it's this weird circle of bullshit. Nobody knows anything.
That's the freaking that's the unfortunate reality of the healthcare system when you have workman's comp. And I said it before because I've seen it. I actually used to call on occupational physicians that dealt a lot with workman's comp. And a lot of it is just stall ball. A lot of it's just stall ball to see if you get frustrated and quit, or if you freaking or if you're faking, or if you just go back. BMW, I know when Bobby was hurt, I mean, they were pretty thorough. I felt they were really thorough.
They pretty much stayed on top of it.
They stayed on top of, like, he was out, then he had surgery, then afterwards he was going to physical therapy, and the doctor was like, your range of motion is not there yet. We have to do this, do that. And then when he was ready to go back to work, they went back to work.
Yeah. I'll be on light duty for the doctor said, it could be a couple of months before, he clears me for only because of my job, lifting, bending, heavy weights, twisting,
Right.
So, it's a pretty.
I mean, at this point, I don't believe anything.
Yeah.
I just don't believe what he said because he already said that you can go back.
Have you ever talked to your job, Kevin, and asked them that, since you can't physically work, can you go back and start doing any type of teaching and being an instructor?
Well, I mean, luckily enough, I'm the only employee at the shop that can do everything. Like I can write up the customers, I can quote the jobs, I can sell the jobs. So they have work for me. It'll be clerical. It'll be working at the counter.
Right.
They have a stool that I can lean on. But yeah. So that going back to work is not a big deal. It's getting there. I can't bend my leg.
That's right.
I can't bend my leg to get in a car to drive there. And the doctor. And the last time the doctor, when he's like he goes, no, you get in a car, you'll kill somebody. Like
I was a therapist.
And the doctor said that too. He goes, you can't drive at all.
Yeah, but he's the reason why we even are having this conversation because of what he wrote. Just saying.
Well, he did write that I was cleared for light duty.
Yeah. Before you were ever even started therapy, he wrote that.
That was an issue right there.
That I don't understand. That's my point is from the moment it took Kevin forever, to get an MRI, to get seen. Then the day that he saw Kevin, he wrote that. Kevin hadn't even started therapy yet. How do you know? How do you even know that he can do what state he's going to be in? So the whole the fact that you couldn't, it's a knee injury and that was the leg that's the foot you used to drive, the leg you used to drive. I just thought you would wait till after the, your initial therapy, and then he sees you, and then he says, "Now you're able to return to light duty."
But the problem with that too is
that before you're even seen.
It seems like there's a disconnect between how you are and what you can do, and they're kind of jumping the transportation and getting into, well, you can work light duty. Well, how do I get from point A to point B? Are you going to pay for my Uber? Are you going to pay for the hand freaking machinery to be entered into my car so I can drive? Because when I sold vehicles from Enterprise, we used to sell to the Pennsylvania Institute for the Handicapped and Blind, and they had handicapped vehicles that we used to fit with all the hand tools.
Yeah, I just know Kerr's name was Jer on the screen.
Was it?
Jen and Jer.
Yeah. Good eyes, Kevin.
27 minutes into it, Kevin. You are getting really, really bad, buddy.
Yeah. So that's what we got going on.
Yeah, I'm just like now it's like this should already been over and done with, and now we're right back to doing the same crap that we were doing. Square one. I'm just over it.
I have hopes. We got 12 more sessions, 30 days worth of therapy. I have super high hopes this is going to be it. I think if we get 12 sessions of working on the range of motion, I think this is going to be it.
So how many days do you go a week?
3.
They don't want me more than 1 day in a row.
Yeah, so we do 3 sessions or 2 depending on what days we
Monday, Wednesday, Friday, or Tuesday, Thursday.
Thank you. I'm the one who scheduled them for you. You had I would sign you in. You didn't even, you just walked in and sat down and was like, go ahead. Yeah. So, yes.
Got to be mentally prepared for physical therapy.
I also have other things going on, so I'll have to make the schedule again. So, just shush. You don't know what days. Because I have some other stuff that I got to take care of in the next couple weeks. So I'll have to figure out what days are going to work. And it's usually in the morning. So pretty much we could probably do the Monday, Wednesday, Friday. So we'll see.
Lee Mac just texted me with a picture of the Edition 35 Lancero.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
He said another winner.
Nice.
Oh,
nice.
right on. He's a Lancero guy. So
yeah. They're fantastic. So I know you weren't part of it, but we finally did get a chance to complete our blind 5.
I saw that the video
which was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it was.
I was talking to Daryl today. Daryl and I were having our Sunday chat, and usually we'd meet at Boda, but we do FaceTime sometimes.
Yeah.
We were talking about it. He's like, man, he goes, that looked like, because I'd be interested in doing something like that. I was like, but you can't use your freaking. I mean, I told you before, the guy, he's in, he does numbers. And
I've seen like his like little spreadsheets.
His spreadsheet. And for a guy to be able to say, yeah, the fat bottom Betty, or which is the cone shaped one? Is it the Betty or the Alice?
That's the Alice. Crazy Alice.
He's like, the Crazy Alice is one of the highest cigars I've ever scored.
Really?
Do you smoke Mormon? No, I don't like it. It's not my wheelhouse. But his rating system is that objective that he rates cigars that are not normally a cigar he'd smoke.
Oh, that's cool.
But he rates it as such, and I tell you, it blows my mind when he comes out with his ratings and how he views a cigar.
Yeah, because your big ones are your, how it looks, the construction, how it burns, as long as it doesn't tunnel, run, doesn't go out, produces smoke. You can have a cigar that you don't like, and as long as it meets all of these functions, then the only objective, like with our blind 5, is overall flavor, 1 to 10. That's where the score can really go way down. That's really the only score that can skew.
I was telling him that's the only one that's really subjective.
Yeah.
And even then, but when I look at his rating system and the flavors are even, it takes it to a whole new level of objectivity. I was like, damn, I would need to have a class to learn this.
I think it has to stay somewhat simplified if you were going to do it in a mass setting like we were talking about. But like multiple people, I think if you got too in depth, it would lose people. Like it would be too much.
Well, yeah, I think 3 out of the 4 ratings that we use are so objective that even if someone had a biased opinion of the flavor, it still would not, have those moments of, it's a 96.
No, but you guys did obviously more detailed notes than I did, which I think was good. So I think that's the option. It's like, okay, yeah, you're doing this rating system, and you can write your notes and stuff without it having to be in the rating system.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think for me, when I wrote my notes, that kind of dictated when I went back on how I scored it. Yeah. The first, second, third, it was like, if the first third, if I started putting down the scores on some cigars on the first third, it would have scored an 8 or a 9.
Right.
But what happened was some of them really, I had one that went completely south with some major ammonia flavor. Yeah. At the end, the last third.
That was the first cigar you smoked of mine.
Yeah, that was the first one.
The Tatach. See, I can't even say it. I can't say it.
The Tatuaje didn't.
Reserve, wasn't it? The Reserve.
Yeah. What's funny is we all gave each other a Tatuaje.
I know. I thought that was weird. I gave you 2. You gave him 1, I gave him 1, and then you gave us.
You gave you guys 1. So everybody had a Tatuaje in their pack, and that was a low performer in all of them.
Yeah.
The Lancero, the Reserva, and then the Fausto.
I know, it's so weird.
It was really odd. But I was telling, it was really funny, Jen, is because Kevin and Jess both have different palettes, but their scoring was very similar,
almost dead on.
It was almost dead on, but their feedback on the cigars were similar, but it ranged differently because
and what's weird is that Kevin, I mean, he did his obviously and I wasn't even aware that he finished or you had started. Obviously, took me a very long time to do mine, but I sat outside. I would hand it to him. He wouldn't even look at it. He just put it in the folder. So it's weird because we didn't talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize that we had the same ones until you said, hey, I sent you guys the same ones.
Yeah, that's even crazier. But their scores were almost identical. Yeah. The feedback was almost identical.
Interesting.
And what was also identical were the ones that didn't perform well and actually had bad feedback were from the same cigar shop. And they were older cigars. So
it could have been the environment.
Well, and that's the thing is you always talk about the environment that cigars are in and how can it impact the flavor. And that's everything from high heat, high humidity for a long period of time, then low heat, low humidity for a long period of time. And doing that up and down,
and lighting, and
can really F up the flavor of the cigar. And the way that tobacco is being kind of, in my opinion, it's traumatizing, to go from extremes like that, especially when that tobacco is organic. And we always talk about it before, Kevin, and I followed your advice, which has been working beautiful in my refrigerator humidor. Is I only have 2 Boveda packs in there. I don't have a big machine. I don't need a lot of humidity. I have the cigars in there, and it took about a week, but after a week, it's gotten up to the high, to the mid to high 60s in humidity.
Oh, nice.
Just with 2 big Boveda packs and probably about 5 trays of cigars with no cellophane on them.
Yeah.
And and I've smoked a couple of cigars out of there, and they're perfect. I mean, I'll have the humidimeter, but I can tell the internal humidimeter. It works great, and I've struggled with that damn freaking Oasis.
Yeah.
When I got the stuff you told me to get. Yeah, I had water in it, and I put the cap full in it, and I ran it. And it ran for a couple of weeks like that.
Yeah.
In my cabinet humidor, perfectly fine. Clear water, perfectly fine. I put in the beads. A week later, freaking black dots and mold inside on those beads. And I don't know if they're capturing it, that maybe the water isn't capturing it. And
maybe being because they are an organic silicone type of the beads, so maybe they're they have like a something, a starter,
right? Yeah, when that if that mold is hitting that water, it's just actually being re-evaporated back into into the environment where this was capturing them.
Yeah.
But it was really odd because I took out that cabinet, I brought it out in the garage, and it was cooler. I turned it upside down. I removed all the angled shelving. I cleaned everything up, sanded everything down, and I sprayed it down with the alcohol mixture a couple times a day for a week.
Yeah.
And let it dry out. Then I rehumidified it slowly, and everything was fine in it.
Yeah.
I don't know. Some of the cabinet humidors they're just not good quality.
Yeah, so I mean, I fought with my wooden one, and then finally it's like that's why it's a bookshelf now. Just so much battling with the wooden one.
Too much.
It was just siliconing the glass, putting a double door gasket on it. It was never ending. It was never fucking ending on the the issue.
Yeah.
And then it's just being wood, so it's going to soak up the humidity, and it's going to bleed them out into the environment. Versus a plastic and stainless steel, it can't
escape.
Can't escape anywhere. So
no, I've even the refrigerator not working, it's still keeping things humid. The humidification's fine, the temperature is fine. After I took out the Oasis, I sprayed down the inside again of the cabinet humidor a few times, cleaned it out real good, and anything that goes in there is just storage that's already wrapped in cellophane.
Yeah.
Take it out, wipe it off.
Yeah.
Not going to mess around with anything else. And it'll probably end up being, like you said, I'll probably create some shelves and make it into a bookshelf or something eventually. But I really don't store anything in there that's of significance or serious.
Yeah. And unless it's like a super high end Daniel Marshall, something, it's just, I'll never go back. But then again, how do you justify, like that, like my Daniel Marshall, it's a 300 count humidor. It's $2,000. How does somebody justify spending that kind of money on a desktop humidor? You're easier to buy a Winador. So
yeah, you can get them now. I mean, for $500, that'll hold 1,500, 2,000 cigars.
Right.
You can get one, or you can go all the way. And some of the new air I've seen that actually have the humidification system already in it, that all you have to do is add water.
We don't use it in both our new airs.
Really?
They're unplugged.
Yeah, but I'm saying that you have those you could use. But before you always had to provide your own humidification system. Now they actually have one built in.
Yeah,
but
and
even
for
then,
some people they would have to use it. We don't, because of where we're located.
Yeah,
how we keep our house, and that's the whole point. Is everyone needs to constantly play with their humidor to get it to the temperature and the humidification that they need it to. It's not going to work in every Like our situation might not work for someone else's.
Right. I mean, I know like when I was up north in Pennsylvania, the winters, it was very difficult because it was very dry and very
Yeah.
cold. And you're always battling to keep humidity in a desktop. I mean, it just is, or any humidor
Right.
at that time.
And you're turning heat on.
Yeah.
And like
And
yeah,
it's-
it's dry heat.
and
it's-
especially like I said, the desktop humidor is wooden, so that the dry humidity is going to suck as much humidity out of that wood that it can, and you're going to be battling the inside. You're trying to hydrate the humidor, but your environment is sucking it out.
I'll tell you, I left a cigar in my car that I had forgotten that I grabbed one day. I was going to smoke on my way to work, and I don't know what happened. I didn't, and I found it, and I was like, oh, I wonder how this smokes. It's perfect.
Yeah,
because it's humid here all the freaking time.
Yeah, the it's funny that you say that, Jess, because I've done the same thing. And the stormtrooper car, the glove compartment is a cooler too.
Oh yeah.
So I would just take a bag, have a video pack, zip up my cigars, and pop it in there, and it stays cool and it's humidified. But we have high humidity here in the summer. So in the summer we're fighting the humidity. In the winter we're fighting the freaking dry.
Yeah.
The one good thing that that up north always has, which you don't have down here, is basements.
Yeah.
So my dad was like, "What do I do?" Like, Dad, take your cigars, go down in the basement. You know how freaking it's always cold and freaking humid down there? He goes, "Yeah." I go, "Perfect."
Yeah.
That's where you want that'll make your cigars happy. You have a basement. This is a perfect spot for it. Where here it's like, you can't find a cool spot. Oh, I got a walk-in closet. Nope, fucking hot as balls in there because there's not a freaking register.
Yep.
You know, so it is a constant battle, but having that refrigerator humidor, that old winador, is really helped out a great deal. And I removed some of the shelves from it, you know, because the shelves are really tight. So I removed some so I could stack up cigars, and I'm still going. I think I'm still giving out hope that I can get it repaired and get everything working again. But if not, I could just take out the middle unit that controls everything, and then just have increase the space tremendously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I did, and then put a fan in the middle. So
Right.
Yeah,
get some circulation and shit. And you know, I don't care about the blue light and all the fancy shit like that. I'm sure.
Yeah, same here. Yeah,
I could find the lighting system, the wire, and connect that up. It's not a big deal, but it's. I mean, for picking that up for what? Like pay for that $200, $175.
$175.
Not bad at all. No, not at all. I mean, for something that big. But since it's a wine, since it's made by wine enthusiasts, I called at least a half a dozen spot places. Yeah, we do that. Yeah. What's the name of the wine enthusiast? Nope, we don't work on that one.
Yeah.
Oh.
I was like, why not? Well, they have their own people that work on that. And then you contact wine enthusiast, and it's like, is it under warranty? No, I bought it from some guy who had it in his garage. And I don't know how old this thing is. Then it's not covered under warranty. So then they're not going to send someone over to work on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, what you got to do is because they're it's just tough. Like Home Depot and Samsung, they don't have or GE, they don't have dedicated. They use a third party.
Yeah.
So just tell me who your third party is.
Yeah.
That if it was under warranty, who would you use?
Yeah.
Just
They're
give
never gonna.
Yeah. Jen, how's young Joe doing with his job?
He's doing well. He's only working. He's there tonight. He works 2 days a week because he's running track. So he's been doing well. He was in a meet on Wednesday, and I think he got first in the 100 and like second or third in the 400. He didn't do well in the 200 because that's that in between speed. So he's really good sprinter, really good kind of long distance. So he has to work on
pacing himself
for the 200 because it's
and he did the 200 last, and he said he was really
exhausted.
tired from they got some pictures of him doing the 100.
Yeah.
Running
Joe.
White boy Joe. He's the only white kid on his running team.
Yeah.
And he said that all the guys respect him now because
Yeah.
he
hustles.
and he's pretty fast.
He they have 9 weeks of school left. They just started fourth quarter last week.
He reminds me of my son running track. 6 foot tall, 78 pounds. And yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I told Joe. I said when you're 5'8", 120 pounds, you either gotta have a devastating right hook or you gotta be able to run fast.
Yeah.
Both of those will help you get out of danger.
So he likes to work, but I think when I said this summer, because like last summer he stayed at my dad's a lot, which is on the other side of town, and helped him around the house because my dad's getting up in age. So he did his lawn work around the house,
worked at the bagel shop
for nothing, which was ridiculous. But this year, being that he's going to be 17 in October, he really needs to work more and start saving money because he wants to use the car, which we're fine with, the little white stormtrooper car, but you have to put gas in it, and he takes it for oil changes, and he's doing the upkeep. Well, that costs money, so you're going to need to work more and start saving instead of eating out all the time or doing this with friends. Like, just go and hang out. You don't have to spend money. So this summer he will have to work more, which I don't think he's too thrilled about. He likes it, but he just doesn't.
He's 16. He wants to have fun too.
Yeah. Which I get.
Normal.
Yeah.
My dad pays him to do the lawn. He does that every 2 weeks. And there's some other neighbors in my dad's development that wants him to do the mulching and grass. So I think he can do well, but he needs to just be a little more cognizant. I told him before, you're going to be graduating. So 2024 is right around the corner.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And speaking of cars and oil changes, you'll be getting a notice on yours. There's a recall on an oil leak. So
I saw that, but it's not all of them. So I haven't gotten a notice on my Ford Pass yet.
Yeah, it just with one particular motor.
Correct.
Is what
I don't know
what
if that's
it was
one or not, but I looked on my Ford Pass because a couple of the Bronco chats that I'm a part of, some are like, we haven't gotten it, others have.
Yeah. Yeah, she's got one coming for her headlights on her GMC. They got to replace the headlight, the entire everything.
Really?
Yeah, they were too bright.
Oh, is that why people are always flashing me?
No, it's GM has only gotten one written complaint about them being too bright. So the department, the DOT or whatever, U.S. Department of Transportation, opened up an investigation, and like the reflector, it didn't meet the specs. So now they got to produce. And these are, hers is a 14. So this is going back.
Yeah.
So now they got to make a million fucking headlights and start replacing them, which is good because hers are all starting to fog over a little bit.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like, sweet, we get new headlights.
Yeah, I replaced the ones in a stormtrooper car because I was like, I think our battery's dying or whatever. No, it was the car was just that old.
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's a Dodge caliper, so this thing's got more leaks in it than freaking, a leak soup. But the one headlight would start filling up with water and look like a fish. Like I could put a goldfish that would live.
You should have put a little rubber fish in there. So
and it got to the point where like it started shorting things out, and I was like, okay. So I ordered it online and we replaced them, and it was like ridiculous, like night and day. So there's the road. Okay.
We see them all the time, and I just drill a little hole. I'll take it out, drill a hole in it to let all the water. When a customer doesn't want to get them replaced, I'll drill a hole in it, and I said just let all the water out. And then the new the 21 F-150s. There's a technical service bulletin. It's not a recall of any type. If it doesn't start, unplug one of the headlights and see if there's moisture on the connection, because these wiring diagrams, it goes all the way to the fuel pump. So if your headlight plug gets a little moisture in it and loses connection, makes the fuel pump not come on. And I'm like, what is
should be a recall?
Well, it's not a recall.
That
It's just
should be fixed so that doesn't happen.
Well, you just put some dielectric grease on there, and
yes, because So everybody's like, that's what I know to do.
Well, no, I mean the mechanics, like say, you know, when we get lots of technical service bulletins. Like one would be like, you know, one on a filling up your gas tank and it always clicks. So you got to cut 1 inch out of this rubber tube and then zip tie it at this angle and then it fixes it. So
that's messed up.
So.
It's funny, like I said, the electrical diagrams, man. It's amazing in the cars nowadays.
I don't do electrical. It's especially new stuff now. We don't do it at the shop. We send it back to the dealer or another shop. It's such a nightmare looking at an electrical schematic now. It's not like trace this power line wire to here and you're done. Now it's like it goes from the battery to the tail lights and then back up front. And at any point that wire could be broken, chafed. Mm-hmm. We don't
I had my Altima and it was an 06 and the headlight went out. So I'm like, I'm gonna replace the headlight. And I'm like, oh, I'll just get a bulb for it. So then I opened up the hood and then I looked up how to replace this bulb and I realized I had to take out half of the freaking airflow system and then I had to shrink my hands to be the freaking hands of a freaking muscular baby, and be able to take this freaking pin, squeeze it, and do all this shit. And I'm like, okay, this is next to impossible. So I pulled into like whatever it was, like the Midas or whatever the hell he did. All right, can you do that? Yeah, do it. Boom, boom, boom. They did it. Still didn't work. I looked at the freaking fuse panel. Everything was fine. Pulled into one shop. He popped the hood and started moving some stuff around. There was a freaking fuse panel under the hood.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, here, bolt, pop the fucking fuse back in. Boom, light went on. He's like, this is all that happened. Just blew a fuse. I was like, yeah, awesome.
There are a lot of cars. I got to remove the bumper, the entire front fascia to do a headlight. You know, people are like, hey, my headlight's out. And you got to tell them it's going to be $150. And like, what? I'm like, yeah, it's going to take me an hour and a half. I got to take the whole bumper off. Like, just do a headlight? Yes. Yep. Sorry, guy. It is what it is. And then especially people that have the HIDs. You know, like we had a customer come in, I don't know, 6 months ago, 9 months ago, whatever. Yeah, I got a headlight out. So we gave her a price of $1,100 for the bulb. It took 30 seconds to replace the bulb. $1,100.
Wow.
Because of the bulb.
That's crazy.
$1,000 for a bulb.
That's crazy.
Absolutely insane.
I had the light in the back on the rear window, like up top, go out.
Yeah.
And Jess is wondering if she's gonna get soldered to her chair.
I don't even know what's happening.
And the guy was like, "Yeah, we can replace that." I'm like, "No, you can't." He's like, "Yeah, we can." I'm like, "No, you can't." So we went back there, and he's looking around. He's like, "Oh yeah, we can't replace it." I'm like, "I know, because you got to take off the whole fucking the whole interior liner, drop that, and then you got to replace it." I said, "I already looked up the video," and I was like, "Shit, they can go buy my 2 brake lights in the rear. They don't have to have that extra brake light up top, because to replace that, you know, you got to have someone who understands how to remove that freaking the freaking top, the interior cloth and liner, and then freaking pop that out and do all that." I'm like, it's not even worth it. Like you said, I'd probably pay someone an hour and a half to 2 hours of labor, just to get that and actually put it back the right way, and hope that in a month it doesn't start popping off and hanging down, and I start needing to tack up the freaking the roof lining like I had to do back in the day with my 76 Hornet.
Yeah. The law says you just have to have 2 brake lights. It could be any 2 combination of the ones in the back. So,
is that in every state?
Yeah, that's I think that's federal DOT.
Yeah, the South Carolina, some of the shit we see on the road is crazy.
Horrible.
But
in Florida, you don't have to have a windshield, but you do have to have working windshield wipers.
You have to have windshield. You have to have windshield in all 50 states.
I thought there was where I read one time where it said if you don't have a windshield, but you can have your windshield that has to have wipers. It's weird, huh?
Down here, it's crazy.
Or maybe wipers they don't need to have.
I've seen shit on the road that looks like Mad Max, but it's got freaking side mirrors. It's got freaking working headlights, working turn signals, and working brake lights, and working turn signals. And I think I've seen someone had a Cavalier with like the doors off. They had the roof cut. I mean, it was some crazy freaking cars I've seen down here. But as long as they got this, and this,
and then they're roadworthy, I guess.
They're roadworthy, and we don't have it. We don't have inspections in South Carolina.
Oh, you guys don't?
We don't have them here either. Well, not in this part of Florida. I think there is
Pennsylvania. I mean, it was
some parts of Florida
New Jersey do, and
New Jersey definitely.
Yeah. Pennsylvania was brutal too. I mean,
I don't know how some people in New Jersey have ever gotten past their inspections because of their vehicle.
Well, so is it just emissions? Because some like New York has emissions and safety.
It's both.
Oh, yeah,
it was everything you drove through. They had you check everything.
Sometimes they make you get out. Sometimes they make you get out, and they really check thorough, depending on who you get. If they
Pennsylvania, you had to leave your car to get it inspected. You never sat in your car and got it inspected. You're like, okay, I'm going to drop my car off. I'll pick it up tomorrow morning. I need to get it inspected. And then county by county in Pennsylvania was dependent on the emissions.
That's weird.
Some counties were really, really strict, and some were not.
Graham has to get his car inspected in North Carolina.
Yeah, and if you have one effing problem with your emissions, God, they won't pass inspection.
Yeah,
and you're effed. I mean, it's completely screwed.
They give you, like in New Jersey, they give you a paper that says you have like 10 days to get it fixed.
Yeah, they're like that with emissions, and I remember that being a big uproar in Pennsylvania,
and it's expensive.
Around that time, I believe I was working at Enterprise. It was 90s, mid to late 90s. So there was still a bunch of people still driving around, a lot of older cars that didn't have, it was never going to pass any of those freaking emissions tests.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm going to get my car inspected in Dauphin County, because I know that county doesn't have emissions, but you live in a different county, but they would go get it inspected in another county.
Yeah. Now, do you have, like, if you buy a new vehicle, can your plate transfer? Do you have to buy a new plate?
You can transfer.
Oh, see, we can't. We have to buy a new plate every time.
Yeah, transfers.
In Florida.
No, this one's for my other vehicle. You don't have to buy a new plate.
I thought you did have to buy a new plate.
We can't transfer someone else's plate.
Yeah. No. You can transfer from car to car.
Why did I feel like that? I had to, when I got this one, I couldn't transfer my plate.
Is it in Kevin's name?
Well, you can only keep a plate for 5 years, and you have to get a new one.
That might have been it. I don't know. There was something. That's what I thought was weird, because I was like, not in Jersey, you didn't have to do that.
Yeah. Most plates in Florida with the sun, like they fade to nothing in 5 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. They'll just fade where you almost can't see them anymore.
Well, I know I didn't know they had a 5-year rule. I know here, if like when we bought the Ford, we couldn't transfer the other plate onto the Ford because the other one was in my name. The car was in my name.
Oh, gotcha.
So, but I know in Pennsylvania you could. You just had there was like a 4ST, whatever number was in front of it, that you could actually do something like that. We had a freaking paperwork for everything, so you could transfer. Like I remember before, when I would sell a car, you could transfer a plate to another one. They just had to sign it off. But here we couldn't. We had to get brand new plates for this one.
Gotcha. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah, so, and then if we sell, like say we sell her car and we're downsizing and we're not going to use that plate, we can actually go down to the DMV, turn the plate in. They'll and if it's like 2 years in, they give you like a credit. So if we go back a year or two from now, they'll be like, oh hey, we see you.
You don't have to pay $400 for a new plate.
Yeah,
right. I think I did mine online.
Yeah, it was optional though to actually physically return.
It was optional. You just basically gave them the number and then they just killed it.
That's what I did. Okay. That's what I did for Grams.
Yeah, they just
I didn't
killed
have
it.
to hand it in. I just had to do it online.
I remember when I first moved down here, my car I was at Pennsylvania plates, and 3 months after being here, it was out of inspection, and then I was just working all the time, so I never even thought to transfer the plate. So, as I kind of went through my first year here, I got called that my mom was diagnosed with cancer, so I had to go back to Pennsylvania, and I was like, oh shit, my car's not inspected. So I'm like, oh, I guess I should get the plate switched. So I went to the DMV, and luckily I had a lady who liked me. So I'm like, yeah, I want to get new plates. And I gave her the plates. She looked at it. She's just like, this plate is not active. You're supposed to have an active plate if it's an out-of-state transfer. And I'm like, yeah, I know, but I'm working all the time. But I gave like 50 reasons all at once. And she just looked at me and I'm like, come on, cut me some slack. I need to go see my mom. And she's like, okay, honey, I'll give you a break this one time. I was like, thank you. Because the other option would be I had to go back to Pennsylvania, get it inspected and get it freaking legal in order to freaking get it transferred over here in South Carolina.
Yeah. If you're nice, there's always wiggle room on all that. You know, when I bought this, I had to buy out this house from my ex-wife, to get her off of everything. And then that means I lose I don't know if you have homestead exemption, if that's a thing in South Carolina, where like the first one, Florida, you can, you have a homestead. If you own your home, you're a resident, they'll take $25,000 off the value of your home, and then you pay taxes on the rest.
Right.
But technically, as a new homeowner, I had to wait a whole year, before I could apply for that. So, and a younger girl, and I went down, and I'm like, hey, I need to transfer the homestead exemption. And then she started, just saying, oh, you got to wait a year, and just being real nice to her. And I know she had a nice little watch on. I forget what it was. I'm like, oh my God, it's such a pretty watch. And I love the band on it. She's like, oh my God, thank you. And then like my parents got me for this.
Did your voice get real high?
It probably did. So like after a few minutes,
oh my God, it's so beautiful.
So after a few minutes, she just looks at me. She looks over the computer and she's like, she goes, all right, you're all set. And I'm like, thank you.
That's because it's not being nice, Kevin. You were flirting. There's a big difference between being nice and flirt. Bullshit. See, you try to say, oh, it was me being nice. It is Kevin flirting.
It saved me a couple $1,000.
Yeah, it's Kevin flirting.
Oh, yeah, because girls never flirt to get things they want.
We weren't together yet.
I don't. What?
We weren't together yet. So
I don't care about that. I'm saying in general, you try to always make it sound like you're clueless. You know exactly what you're doing, so don't even try it, please. He's always like, "Oh, I don't know what you're talking about, Jessica."
So when
okay, and when his voice all of a sudden gets most so of the time high, like a high school boy.
How many times when we were dating, like we'd go somewhere, and then like the waitress, and then like would leave, and she'd be like, she was totally flirting with you, and
he noticed.
And I never did. I'm like, I go, get the fuck out of here.
Okay, then.
And then there was like one time. The only time I did notice, I remember that when she came over and took our drink order. She asked me what I wanted, and I told her, and then she walked away and never asked Jessica what she wanted to drink.
But he does notice. He just plays ignorant all the time, which makes me and he does it on purpose because he knows it makes me crazy. I'm like, Kevin, don't play dumb. Like, just don't play dumb. So you weren't being nice. You were flirting to get what you wanted.
In that situation, yes.
Is Kevin's drink free?
I don't know. Who knows? Probably.
But yeah, it was just so funny. She never even took Jessica's drink order.
That's funny.
Yeah, but I literally don't think I mean, I'm there for a reason. I, talk normal. I honestly don't ever get anyone like that's a young, good-looking guy. Anyway, it's always like old ladies.
I dated
a girl. Who the hell am I flirting with then?
I dated a girl.
Kevin will still flirt with the old lady, and he'll bring her flowers.
It's being nice, though. You see,
that's being nice.
It is because we were at a diner. This years ago, and I was dating a girl, and the waitress came over and she was talking to us, and I was like, yeah, I was talking. She's like, why are you flirting with her? I'm like, I'm being fucking nice. She's like, She's like, you're flirting with her.
Jersey, yeah.
She goes, no. This was Jen.
Jen's like,
and she's like, Jess is, if Jen, it would be like, oh, you got a free shit, great. But
Jen's like, keep it up.
That's the cheap Jersey in her. Keep flirting, see if you can get something else. But I was just being nice, and had a little conversation, and the girl's like, you're flirting with her. She's a waitress. All she's doing is bringing you eggs. It's not like you're going to get anything out of it. I was like, I'm going to get eggs without spitting it, but you keep acting like a bitch. I guarantee you're going to have a little bit extra.
She's like, try some of my food, Carrie. And you're like, I don't know. So
the fact that I know when Kevin's flirting is because Kevin doesn't like talk. He doesn't like small talk with anyone. So when he does do that, that's how I know. That's how he outs himself.
Yeah,
he does not
when I small talk. Bacardi and Diet place. Kevin, what are you
That
doing?
is not your small talk.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
what I'm talking
Yeah.
about is like anytime we go somewhere, he'll sit on his phone. Like he'll just, not engage at all. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, hi, how are you? Oh, I like that. I like that shirt you're wearing. He outs himself. He doesn't even realize it. I'll just start videoing him and showing people how it's like in some ways he is almost clueless, I think. Or he actually knows what he's doing and he just pretends he's clueless. It's one or the other.
It's being nice, especially when you're dealing with service
nice.
people. You
Being
never know
so
if you're
nice.
gonna get something free or
Listen,
someone's
there's
gonna
two types of
extra
jersey.
service.
You're talking about, hey, let's get that free milkshake, or do you want to keep your fucking eyeballs?
Well, yeah, no,
it
it is.
like,
but
there's no
I
in
like
between.
I was extra nice and I guess maybe a little flirty with the lady, but I was also faced with I was also faced with need to go back to Pennsylvania, get my shit freaking, re-inspected and stuff. So hey,
But I'm just saying is that like,
what?
You guys doing that with, it doesn't matter if it's an older woman or a younger woman, you're being extra nice. If Jen and I had the same woman and we were being nice, it's not the same outcome.
No, but if you have a guy though, but if you have a guy or a man,
how often do
it
you
could be
see
the same outcome
bartenders?
If she's a lesbian.
Well, that's true too, but I'm saying like in a setting like that.
Oh gosh, yes. Oh, this drink has got a little too much Coke.
No, I'm not talking about.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, this one's all
that's
free.
not important.
Okay.
First off, going to a bar or a restaurant is not important.
Walks right
going
by
to
me.
is
Ghosts
important.
me at the bar. Girls.
Listen, Kerr, bar, DMV, bar is not important. I don't give a shit if they gave me a drink or not. Going to the DMV is a serious thing. You would think that's the time you want to be extra nice. But women don't always respond well to women. So it doesn't work the same for us.
Well, when you have an expired license plate from Pennsylvania and you try and exchange to South Carolina, if it doesn't work out for you, then I will be more than happy to agree with you. Okay. Until that happens, I was being super nice to her, but I'm also nice to servers when they come over, and it's just being nice to someone.
You have really good people skills.
It's just because Kevin makes small talk with me. He's not flirting with me.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'll let you guys keep manipulating the situation. It's fine. I don't care. It's just so funny because at least I'm like honest about stuff. I just can't stand when like it's like, oh, that's not what I'm really doing, but it is, and who cares? It's like, just say it, but don't pretend that you're not doing that. Like, what's the point of pretending that you're not flirting with someone?
I didn't pretend. I don't.
Well,
flirt.
Kevin does. Kevin's
what about
being a nice guy?
Joe's in service. Is Joe dealing with customers in the customer service?
Yeah.
Okay. Is he have any horror stories or
oh yeah,
one. Well, not any stories with girls, but he had one horror story of a drunk group of people being very ignorant to the servers and everything, to the point where I fought every dad instinct in my body not to go in and just slap freaking food out of people's mouths and pull a freaking Will Smith.
Oh, you guys are close. He should be texting you when that happens.
He went to his manager. He did the appropriate things. I was not happy at all.
But I the thing was, and what I want to teach the kids is, I want you to learn how to handle things on your own, because I'm not always going to be there.
Right.
And when the time comes and it needs to be escalated, I will be there, and you will know. If I have to get involved with shit, it's real. And I've had to do that. I've had to do that with my daughter in school, with a girl who on the bus, this is what, 4th grade, was it? Something like that, 3rd grade. A girl on the bus was picking on Wyatt, and my daughter stuck up for him, and this girl was much bigger, punched Emma. Emma went home, called me right away, FaceTime me, told me everything that happened. I called her mom, and her mom's always like, well, we got to do this, because it's always like, that Southern let's kiss the ass of the freaking school board. So we had a parent-teacher conference, and it was me and her and the freaking principal, and then they had the freaking police officer who does it, and they're like, well, we can't suspend her because it happened on the bus. It's not school property.
It is school property.
I said, I want to see the video. Well, we can't show you the video because it's this. And I said, and then we don't want to suspend the girl because, she's going to school and, it'll take away from the education. I said, when I was in school, something like this would warrant an in-school suspension. I said, so you can still keep your whole agenda with your education going, but she's isolated and she's being punished for what she did. And they're like, we never thought of that before. I'm like, yeah. I said, this is not a one-time event. This girl has consistently picked on my kids. And I said, and I'm going to tell you something right now. This will be the last time that you'll see me if this happens again. Because if it happens again, if you think Hurricane Hugo devastated Charleston, you haven't seen anything yet. And, Max was like, oh, calm down. I go, no, I wasn't yelling. I said,
that's crazy.
I said, and the police officer was, now listen, I said, I didn't threaten anybody. I said, but I'm telling you right now, this has happened on multiple occasions. The girl's brother was picking on Emma and calling her a whore. And he's like 2 years younger and like, yeah, suck my big dick, blah, 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 blah. They didn't do anything about that. This time, enough was enough. So they actually put the girl in school suspension. And Emma told me, like, from that point going forward, they never picked on her. She just always gave her ugly looks and dirty looks. But that was about it. But I told him flat out, if I got to come down here again, I'm not going to be having a conversation with you.
Listen, I find that crazy because Wyatt, who wouldn't hurt a fly, had him and another kid on a bus, they were like oil and vinegar. I mean, they just kept at each other. Wyatt hit him with a belt buckle. He got suspended. Like right before the end of school last year. When he was in middle school. I had to go in, watch the video, and Wyatt, they even had him trying to show him, like, hey, look at what you did to this kid. I mean, it hurt him. And he was like, oh, that's me. He thought he was like watching like a movie. He was like excited. Yeah. And I was like,
rooting for the kid hitting the other kid with the belt buckle. And I like that. I like that actor
Wyatt,
right there.
Mind you, Wyatt never has ever done this kid, but you could see on the bus this kid was aggravating the shit out of him, and he finally had enough. But the bus driver and I had talked, and I was like, clearly they cannot sit next to each other. The teacher even suggested that these two kids not be near each other, and they kept putting them near each other. And you can see on a lot of the videos, this kid kept aggravating the shit out of Wyatt, but he hit him with a belt buckle.
Wow.
Like hit him hard, broke skin.
Yeah, we only had one issue with Amber. And it was and I want to say it was he's either 8th grade or 9th grade. So last year of middle school, first year of high school, and she saw a kid getting picked on by basically a bully.
Yeah.
Amber, I think so. It was like a couple years older, and then just totally trashed the bully. Didn't touch him, but just started making fun of him, and where the kid started crying. And then when we got in school, I'm like, oh. So that's what we're getting a call for. This bully is picking on somebody else. Amber just trashes this bully, emotionally, and now she's in trouble.
Well, it's Charleston that's real lax, because in Greenville County, they don't pull. They will discipline without even a blink of an eye. In 7th grade. And I bought it because it was funny. Joe wanted fart spray, like the ones you see on all the videos.
Of course, and it's funny. Yeah.
Well, and it's really potent. Like he sprayed outside, and it's like you can't spray this inside at all. Hold on a moment.
Joe sprayed in school and like cleared out the whole one wing.
I think
of
you
the school.
told us the story.
No, I don't.
I heard the story before,
and it was like you
said it was so potent.
I got the phone call from the vice principal, and I was, and then Jen got a message, and Jen called me freaking out because they were talking about suspension and everything and blah, 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 blah. But what they did was they talked about how some people can have an allergic reaction to it. They had to open up all the windows, so that violates all their safety protocols of having open doors and open windows in the school. The one area the kids were taking like one of the freaking like placement tests. So actually what happened was when I got the call, I hung up the phone and I kind of chuckled to myself because I was like, fucking Joe took that fart spray, sprayed it outside, it smelled bad, didn't realize what was going on. No, it's okay. Do we want to wrap it up?
Just tell them.
Okay, or can you guys hold on for 1 second?
Yeah.
Can I hit pause on the broadcast or no?
No, we can cut it out.
All right.
Here, I'm gonna put you on
Oh, that was
speakers.
something about the house.
Yeah, it's other than that, we never really had any issues. You know, Kevin had a couple issues in elementary school or preschool. But that's about it. He got in trouble for pointing his finger at someone and like
A gun.
Yeah, playing. They're out on the playground, and there was another boy. They were playing. You know, like the boy had a stick as a gun, and Kevin pointed his finger.
Yeah.
You know, and
No, Wyatt, I mean, as far as like with other students, that was the first time with Wyatt that he ever got in trouble. Graham got in trouble one time at school, and it was middle school when the teacher was talking about that she had a little person as a relative, and Graham's like, "Oh, I just think they're so cute. I'd like them as it's almost like I would love them as a pet."
Yeah.
And he didn't know what he was saying. Like it was wrong of him to say what he said. But they brought him into the office. They called me. It was like this big thing. She wanted to like have him suspended for, talking bad about like little people and all stuff. And I'm like, wait, like he has like siblings that have a disability. I don't think he meant any.
Right.
I think you're taking it to a level like you're talking about a sixth grader who doesn't even understand what like he was really saying. I mean, I truly don't believe like it was like a sinister because they were like, oh, he wanted them like as if they were like a thing and not a person. I'm like, oh my god.
Well, the same when
it's intent.
When
right?
kids are around people who are little people, I think that they think that they're kid-like.
Well, it was the same with my buddy Anthony, who's a dwarf, and came over to my house for the first time. And Kevin, I don't know, couldn't have been 7, 8, 9 years old, and he's probably younger than that because he was just slightly taller than Anthony. And Anthony and I were talking, and Kevin was sitting on the couch, and finally walked up to Anthony and goes, "Why are you so little?"
Yeah.
And then and I'm like, "Kevin," and Anthony's like, "You know what?" He goes, "Don't worry about it." And he goes, "Kids don't mean anything by it." And he goes, kids are inquisitive. He goes, "I'll never turn away any kid that ever has a question, because they just don't know." And he goes, "It's adults that are fucking brutal."
It's true.
It's they say drunks and kids. That's where you get the truth. And and unfortunately, I mean, with kids, they have no filter. They just ask the question direct. And the problem is that they don't, some dumbasses don't have. Some dumbasses can't realize that there's no intent, right? There's not ill intent. Yeah. And I apologize about that, but we just got news that the house we put an offer on, we got.
Fine.
Oh, really?
Oh, you got?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Congratulations.
Send us some pictures. We didn't get pictures of this one.
Well, I've been playing it pretty cool because I've been trying to keep Jennifer's expectations at a certain level.
That's
and
good though. Congratulations.
And this will come up from time to time. We had the renewal on this lease on this house for a year, and they gave us till Monday. So when I got it, I sent it to Jen, and I told her before, I'm like, we'll just sign it the last possible second. Guess who signed it and sent it in?
Jen.
Yes.
Well, I mean, do you get is there an out clause? Can you get out?
There's an out clause, but the out clause usually costs a little bit of money. It's like you have to at least do 2 months, blah, 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 and so on and so
that
forth.
would probably take you guys a while to pack, right?
Well, it depends on how fast this close time is, to turnaround time is on this. So I'm hoping that the timing works, because if it doesn't, I told Jennifer, I said, there's going to be a lot of I told you so. Mm-hmm. But I don't like to hang on my hat on it too much, but it's like just even an extra couple of $1,000s means a lot.
It does.
It's like, okay, we can move out of here and be out of here, in such time, but there's going to be an out clause, which means we have to freaking pay 1 month's rent, or we lose our security deposit or whatever. And it is what it is. I mean, it is anything, but I know this house was something that, Jen, when she saw it on Friday, she was beaming. She's like, "I love this house. I love this house." And I knew that when we saw the house I'd love, that it's going to be it. And I was like, okay, well, just don't get your hopes up, because it's a really competitive market and blah, 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 blah. Yeah. And, we laid down some pretty stringent rules. We gave an offer. We said, we're not going to go higher than X. and it needs the inspection, it needs this, and if it doesn't freaking, if the appraisal comes in it's under, we can walk in any moment in this whole thing, because there's a lot of people out there right now buying homes and they're paying
like
30,
my
40,
parents' house.
50, $60,000 more
My
than
parents' house,
asking.
And
they're going, okay, here's the deal, Kevin. You're selling your house for $300,000. I'll give you $340,000, and I'll waive the inspection. I want the house now. And it's
that's what So I follow a lot of home inspectors on TikTok, because they always give, great advice on what to look for, even after after buying a house. And he goes, that's the thing we're seeing. He goes, so many people are waiving inspections, and he goes. And he's like, like in our area, he goes, you don't have to use me. I'm not promoting me. And he goes, think about, the inspector, look, with the real estate agent or the home seller, it's like, hey, this is the inspection company we use. Look at their reviews, look at the company, because, he goes, there's so many times. Look at her brother, had an inspection on the house. They bought the house.
Everything went wrong. It was like the money pit.
Everything went wrong.
It was like it held up, and then the next day.
Yeah. So it was just like,
but it was the inspector that they did, they were told, oh, this is who we use. And so now they're getting money finally. It was like this whole big ordeal. Like they had to go after the person who sold them the house, the inspector, the realtor, all this stuff, because they were trying to say that it wasn't like a catastrophe type thing. Like it could have been, prevented, which is not the case. Like you can't see behind a wall. They didn't know there was water leaking that whole time, because in the cabinets, they replaced the back of the cabinet so you couldn't tell there was damage.
No,
and
it's
it was bad. What happened to them was
there's inspectors like in our area, and I see them advertise in the Facebook groups and everything else, and home inspectors, and they said our insurance, and they said we guarantee if something goes wrong afterwards, we buy the house.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, so and it's not like the insurance, like the home inspector company goes, we'll buy the house. Yeah. If something happens and we missed it, we own it.
That's a good inspector, because I gotta tell you, there's so many ridiculous ones. Like you said, you don't know who's using who and what. And Daryl actually sent me a really good article on how the pandemic, and they said it was something like, pandemic house ownership and millennials and all the mistakes they're making. Yeah. And the mistakes are overpaying and then not getting the inspection. I told Jennifer, I said, look, I know that interest rates are great right now and they're going to go up. I'd rather buy a house that is under the appraised value or around the appraised value at a 6, 7, 8% interest, whatever it is, than buy a house at a 3% interest that's $20,000 over the appraised value. Because what you're going to have to do is two things. You're either going to have to get the company, which a lot of them aren't doing it now, to loan you over the appraised value, or put down extra money on top of the down money. Mm-hmm. And if you own a house, and if you buy a house with a higher interest rate, when interest rates come down, you can always refinance it. Yeah. When you buy a house and you overpay for it, you can't unring that bell.
Yeah.
You can't unring that bell.
Yeah, my parents, when they sold their house, they got 3 times the amount, really, what the house was worth. But they're literally on the water, like in a nice area, and those houses do go for quite a bit in general. But what that house really needed was those people overpaid. But they did the inspection, all that stuff, but they waived my parents replacing the roof. They had to do it themselves. They said they wanted to. And then when it came down to like the closing part, they were like, oh, the insurance was more than we thought. And can you come down on the price? And my parents were like, no.
Yeah.
Like this is what you wanted.
Yep.
So, they could have, those people could have walked, but they didn't. But my parents would have sold the house to someone else for the same price. They would have gotten it. They had so many offers. So these people thought, oh, this is great. And then they don't realize how much the insurance and all that stuff is going to cost. And then the replacement of the roof, it's a lot.
Yeah. When I bought this house, I said the appraisal came in at it was like $12,000 to $15,000 less. We're like, fuck. So we're either going to split it, or have to come to closing with a bunch of money, and the owner they just lowered the price, and they just matched and
Wonder why.
they nobody lived in it forever. They
Oh.
lived in New York. The owners.
Oh.
This was like for their mother they bought her
Oh.
mother a Florida house. She never wanted to leave New York, so it sat empty. So they just wanted.
It was orange.
It was but
it was an ugly
and
color.
obviously we won't ask you on air how much you paid for your house. But so I bought this house back when the housing market was fantastic, and I only paid $52,000 for this house.
Right. No, I mean it's.
I tell people that. I tell people,
we're. I mean, with the additions that.
Oh yeah. People like
that's great though. But you probably have a shit ton of equity. You're able to use equity.
Well, how does
loans.
that work after you bought? Does the equity stay the same after you bought?
Well, the equity is always there.
Yeah, that's
whatever
what I mean,
you
but
owe versus what it's worth.
But
So,
houses, the beautiful thing about buying a house versus buying a car, that's why when people buy cars in cash, it blows my mind because you're investing money into a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
And when you have a house, it's appreciating if you do upkeeps and you do upgrades, and it will always be appreciating. When I bought my house in Harrisburg, it was 1952's brick home. 3-bedroom, 1.5 bath, just a small, nice little starter home, had a decent little piece of property on it. I bought it for 109 or 105.
Mm-hmm.
Great neighborhood, whole 9 yards. The whole neighborhood looked the same, all these different brick homes. I ripped out all the carpets, redid all the hardwood floors underneath. I redid the kitchen, redid the countertops, added cabinets. It was a very small bathroom. Gutted the bathroom upstairs, redid the whole bathroom. I probably put about $30,000 into the home just by doing that, and then landscaped the back beautifully. Like there was a big drop off. I put a retention wall, filled it in with freaking dirt, put in trees, everything. And when we put it on the market, I put on this market for 175, and it was 2007-ish. It was like right in the boom of buying houses. Put it on the market. After we put it on the market, fucking FedEx guy driving through the neighborhood without his headlights on.
Yeah,
that ain't too dangerous, is it? First person who saw the house put an offer on it. Second person came to see the house, put an offer on it, and they were like, you can get in this negotiated, this bidding war, and blah 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 blah. And I said, listen, I'm moving to Pittsburgh. I don't have time for this shit. And to be honest with you, I guess the person who put in the first bid, they want the house. They're getting it. I'm not gonna get them and this other people into a bidding war.
Right.
So bought that house. Now I'm looking for a house in the same market that I freaking made some decent money on my own. Yeah. And I bought a house in Pittsburgh and paid too much for it. And then when we got divorced, it was time to resell the house. In a year after buying it, I went back to the real estate company. I'm like, I want to sell the house. What are you asking for it? And I was like, $245. They're like, oh my gosh, you paid too much for it. I'm like, you sold it to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. I'm aware that we paid too much for it. This is the one that she wanted. And, we ended up sinking $13,000 into the kitchen and getting the kitchen redone. So there's pluses and minuses, but I when we started this venture, I said, there's a lot of cash buyers on the market and they're stealing everything. I am not going to buy a house that we're going to overpay for. I'm just not. We have our budget. I want to stay within our budget. We actually got this one probably right at where we were feeling comfortable with the budget. It was a little bit. I don't want to say on the higher end of our budget, but it was
creeping up on it.
It was close enough to where I was like, listen, we did a max offer where I felt comfortable. We came in about $10,000 lower than that, which I'm happy for. That they took the first offer, which was great. But I'm not going to waive any inspections. I'm not going to waive any of that
absolutely
bullshit.
Not.
No.
And the one real estate agent had mentioned a couple of times, and the one I think Kevin, I was telling you, the one house we looked at in Taylor's around here, and I just living in Taylor's, I know that there's always seems to be runoff problems. It rains, it's like water pools, water does. And this house that we looked at, you could just tell just by looking at how the erosion and the yard. I'm like, what? And they're like, oh yeah. Did I forget to tell you that the foundation was redone on this house and it's insured for lifetime? I'm like, well, hold on. That's not true, because if that company goes out of business, it's not insured for a lifetime anymore.
Yeah.
Secondly, if they had to replace the whole foundation, and I'm seeing the way that this ground erosion is, there's a lot of water going in the bottom of this house. Now the only type of basements we have here is when you have the garages under the home, and then the other side is kind of like a half basement.
Yeah.
I'm like, they're like, well, they're really anxious to move. And if you go without, I go, listen, there's no way I would ever buy this house without having an inspection. Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
I want freaking 2 inspections, because the first one I'm going to be really skeptical on if you've completely redid the foundation on this house. So,
is that the one that had the just weird slab of concrete?
Well, no, that was something else. That was
Okay.
weird in the back. But then this other house we were looking at that had some issues as well. You could see some of the telltale signs. And like Kevin said, when you watch lots of videos, or you've bought a home, you've been around the block a little bit, or you kind of learn stuff. Like my dad's a handyman, so you kind of look for shit. My dad, redid our old home, and I was always around helping out. You kind of know when there's shit that just doesn't look right, that maybe to someone who doesn't know, they would never pick up on it.
And also if you have younger people, like Kevin's daughter Amber's, they're been looking, and they put in a couple offers, but they're also trying to be conservative with their offers, because they don't want to overpay for a house that they know isn't worth that.
Right.
So they haven't really been able to find what they were looking for in the area. So they've had to kind of change the area they're looking at, because they're moving. They have no choice. They have to come back this way in July. And so, that's the other thing. They're young, but at least they're doing their research. They're asking the right questions. They're doing the right thing. But there are people who are young that don't do that. And they wouldn't know.
Definitely, especially if they find one around here. I'll be over there.
He'll be over there looking.
Like, what is that?
The nice thing is that Bobby also understands how stuff works. So, I mean, they're being very smart about how they're approaching their looking. But not everybody knows that.
Well,
like my sister and her husband, like Mike, her husband, is not a handyman. He didn't grow up that way. He does not know how to do. She would have to hire someone to hang a picture, type of thing. That's not who he is. And so she had to rely on like friends and stuff of theirs who do know, to make sure, like, hey, like, you guys aren't making a bad choice here. Plus, they lived in apartments almost their whole life.
You have to tap into people who are actually give access to, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'll give you an example. My dad, is a mechanic. He was a mechanic, and my grandfather's a mechanic, and my great grandfather owned a dealership and was a mechanic. Like his brother's a mechanic. My brother's a mechanic. It's
right.
Like, my cousin Vinny. So, we were around cars, and then I worked for Enterprise. So I knew the car sales end of things. I knew what to look for with car damage, overspray, all these, was this bolt moved? Like, look at all the little itty bitty things in cars. And when you're inspecting them, because we used to give, trade-in values for vehicles. And we also were around a lot of cars that had damage. So my brother would buy cars and never call my dad or I. And then he would call and be like, I bought this Avalanche and the thing's a piece of shit. And, they're telling me they don't really know what the mileage is. I said, when you signed the vehicle, did you sign a little slip that said TMU, true mileage unknown? Let me see. Yeah. I go, yeah, because either that has a different engine or something happened. They don't know the real mileage on that vehicle. That's why you sign that odometer disclosure. There's 2 of them. You sign odometer disclosure for your vehicle if you trade it in, that this is true. And if they have a vehicle that they're not really sure the odometer of the vehicle, if it's true, they're going to give you TMU. I said, that's the reason why you're faced with what you got. It was fucking bullshit. I'm like, no, you signed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You signed it.
You did it.
Where? Jen's car, the Stormtrooper car, she bought that before I met her, but I started seeing the paint peel on the back, and I'm like, that's odd. It just, this clear coating was coming up. So I started looking at it. I'm like, this vehicle's in a rear end accident. She's like, no, they said it was never an accident. Did the car fox or whatever. I'm like, well, no. I said, come here. I showed her all the overspray. And then when we went under the vehicle, the shit job they did with freaking body putty and freaking bolt. I was like, Jen. And now over time, the back end starting to spread open and the hatchback doesn't always close fully. And I'm like, this is the kind of little things that you got to look for in a car.
Yeah. People don't understand that. Like there are like private individual repair shops, body shops that don't report to Carfax. Like it's not a thing. Like dealerships report to Carfax every time a car comes in. It gets like Bridgestone does it with Tires Plus. Like said, the maintenance, it was serviced here and here and here. But yeah, it's not something that has to be. It's not a law that you have to report anything to Carfax. So yeah, it's people. Well, no. Oh, it's got a clean Carfax. That doesn't make anything. Just
it means it wasn't a total loss. It was a total loss, and it was it was rebuilt. Then
or if it was just even if it had a door replaced, Carfax might not know about that.
Right,
because you went to a shop that doesn't report to Carfax.
Right, but what the only time we've ever had anything like that, and I tried to tell Jennifer, I said, is anytime there's a change in the title. So if a vehicle is a clean title to find, if it gets in an accident and it's totaled,
oh yeah,
that title change will occur, and that will show up on Carfax.
Oh yeah. It's a
So when they say
rebuilt title,
nothing happened to this car. This thing could have been freaking smashed beyond recognition, and they didn't total it, and they got it all fixed. It just means that there probably wasn't any structural or frame damage to the vehicle, but whatever they did to the back end of this vehicle, and you try and explain it to someone, they're like, yeah, but it wasn't the Fox. The Fox. Yeah. They showed me the car Fox, and it was fine. Well, it means that it was not smashed up, to the point where it was totaled. There was no change in the title. That's what you would see. And we used to see a lot of that, especially like during the flooding in Louisiana. There was a lot of cars that were going through some real shady shit of getting sold all around the country that were freaking flood damage vehicles. And that's going to be on there as a title change.
Yeah.
All right. I got to get kids to bed.
All right.
All righty. Well, you want to do the ending?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. This isn't our happy little chat.
Yeah. Oh, Jen's not here either. Yeah.
Well, here, hold on. We come back for the exit. She's flying on cloud 9 right now.
I'm sure.
Right. I just been told that I have to pack up all of this in 33 days.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be able to pack up what's on my desk in fucking 30 days.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
You're gonna be fine.
Well, who knows? Who knows how long? Hopefully, you can close in 30 days or so and get it. Yeah, hopefully the closing goes quickly and inspections go quick.
I want the closing to go a little bit longer. I need time.
Yeah.
I need a longer runway. I need a longer runway here. So Jen's gonna be out in 1 second.
Okay.
But I did want to thank you both for being on the show tonight.
Oh my God.
She's here. Jen's floating in. Here she comes. She's gonna land safely on her butt. There we go. Happy Jen.
Yes.
Happy Jen. Hercules.
Yeah.
He goes like this. How he claps. It's like
Hercules.
Nona was already talking about.
Yes, kiss me.
Design.
Oh,
especially with the interior of the house and how
she's
in heaven.
Yeah.
Nona's in heaven.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
We got to close up here.
All right. I'm Bully Kevin.
I'm Bully Jess.
I'm Bully Kerr.
I'm Bully Jen.
And remember, bullies make good friends.
From Kev, Jess, Kerr, and Jen, we are the Broadleaf Bullies. Thank you for joining us, and remember, bullies make good friends.